The stars of the outer sector were always silent. Imperial patrols often joked that it was the most boring assignment in the galaxy. No pirates, no rebels, no strange signals, just cold space and endless routine checks. But on this night, the silence broke. Captain Valor of the Imperial fleet leaned forward on his command chair. His sensor officer, a young reptilian named Crass, was staring at the display with wide eyes. "Captain, I don't understand. We are picking up something huge. Energy reading is beyond the scale." Valor frowned. "A fleet?" Crass shook, his head nervously. "No, sir, it's only one contact." The bridge grew tense. A single ship with power greater than an entire fleet? That made no sense. The Empire cataloged every known species and every class of warship. Nothing like this existed in their archives. "Identify it," Valor ordered. I can't, sir. The system refuses to classify. The hull structure, it doesn't match anything, not Empire, not Rebels, not even the old archive designs." The comm officer added in a shaken voice, "Sir, the signal doesn't respond to our calls. It ignores us completely." The crew exchanged worried looks. Ships that ignored the Empire usually ended up destroyed. But this was different. This ship was not hiding. It was moving slowly, calmly, as if it had nothing to fear. News spread quickly. Within hours, 3 more patrol fleets reported the same signal, all describing it the same way: massive, unrecognizable, and silent. Whispers began to rise across the sector. A legend? A ghost? High Command received the reports with growing unease. The Galactic Empire prided itself on dominance. They had subjugated hundreds of species. They had maps of every star lane, every colony, every rebel group. But now, something had appeared in their territory that they could not explain. The Emperor's advisors argued in the throne chamber. Perhaps it is an ancient warship left adrift and reawakened, or a new rebel superweapon, or something from beyond known space. Each explanation only increased their fear. Meanwhile, Captain Valor's fleet kept its distance, shadowing the strange vessel. The closer they moved, the more unsettling the readings became. The warship was vast, its hull made of dark steel laced with glowing patterns that looked almost alive. Its engines burned with an energy type no one could identify. "Sir," Crass whispered. "If it wanted, it could have already destroyed us." The captain did not answer. He felt the same. The warship was not just powerful. It was patient, watching, waiting. Suddenly, the ship shifted course. Not random, not drifting. It was deliberate, straight toward the Empire's coreward routes. Valor felt his chest tighten. Whoever controlled this ship knew exactly where they were going. Alarms rang out across Imperial space. Emergency orders flew from High Command. All fleets are to converge. Intercept at all costs. Do not let the unknown vessel pass. But even as entire armadas mobilized, the strange ship did not slow. It moved with the calm confidence of a predator crossing a field of prey. On border colonies, civilians panicked. Rumors spread faster than official reports. Some said it was the return of the extinct ones, the species the Empire once believed gone forever. Some said it was a god. Some said it was death itself. Valor stared at the warship's image on his main screen. The hull markings seemed clearer now, almost like ancient symbols. And then he remembered something from his academy days. An old, forbidden text that mentioned a race called humans. But that was impossible. Humans were myths. And yet, as the mysterious vessel advanced deeper into Imperial space, Valor felt a cold truth settle in his heart. The silence of the outer sector had ended. Something had returned. Something the Empire was not prepared for. The Imperial fleet gathered like a storm. Hundreds of warships, sleek cruisers, heavy destroyers, and carrier vessels filled the sector. Their formation looked strong, but behind the steel, there was fear. Every commander knew they were facing something unknown. Admiral Serac, the supreme commander of the sector, stood tall on his flagship. His scales glittered under the dim lights as he gave the order. Open all channels. Force it to identify itself. The strange warship loomed in the void, silent and unmoved. Its hull was vast, a mountain of steel with glowing lines that pulsed like veins. Compared to the Imperial ships, it looked ancient, yet superior, as if it had been built for a war the galaxy had forgotten. "Transmit now," Serac roared. His comm officers obeyed. Dozens of languages were broadcast, every known code and command. The Empire demanded an answer, but the ship did not respond. Instead, it slowed. For the first time, it shifted its stance, turning to face the fleet directly. The stars reflected off its hull like a shadowed giant. The silence became unbearable. "Admiral, incoming transmission," a comm officer whispered. Serac's eyes narrowed. "Finally, put it through." The bridge screens flickered. For a moment, static. Then, a voice. It was calm, steady, and unlike anything they had heard in centuries. It was not alien in tone. It was human. "This is the Terran warship Aegis. You are trespassing in what was once human space." The words echoed through the chamber. Officers froze. No one spoke. The name, Terran, was a ghost from ancient records. Humans, once believed to be extinct, were now speaking to them directly. Serac felt his throat dry. "Identify yourself, again," he demanded, though his voice trembled. The reply came with chilling certainty. "We are humanity. We have returned." The bridge erupted in whispers. Officers glanced at one another, fear in their eyes. Humans were myths, bedtime tales, told by alien parents to frighten their children. Legends spoke of a race that fought against impossible odds, that built machines beyond imagination, that vanished before the Empire rose. And now, a single ship stood before them, alive, awake, and claiming its old ground. Serac clenched his fists. "All ships, prepare weapons. If they refuse our authority, we will crush them." The fleet moved, weapons charging, engines roaring. The dark void lit with thousands of targeting beams. The Empire's power was ready to unleash destruction, but the Aegis remained still. Then, without firing a shot, the human warship spoke again. "You misunderstand. We did not come here to fight. We came here to remind you. This galaxy does not belong only to you." And then, as if to underline the message, the Aegis released a single burst of energy. It did not strike the Imperial ships. Instead, it swept across the fleet like a wave of light. Systems flickered, shields collapsed, weapons powered down. Bridges went dark. Entire fleets floated helplessly, like prey stripped of their claws. Admiral Serac staggered, his entire armada paralyzed in seconds. No casualties, no explosions, just silence and helplessness. The Aegis spoke once more, its voice calm, terrifying in its restraint. "Now you understand." In that moment, the Empire realized something they had not felt. In centuries, powerlessness. The myth of humanity was no longer myth. It was real, and it stood before them with strength the Empire could not match. The first contact was complete, and it was only the beginning. The fleets of the Empire drifted helplessly, their systems frozen. Lights flickered dim across the dark hulls of destroyers and cruisers. Commanders screamed orders, engineers tore at consoles, but nothing responded. On every bridge, fear spread like fire. "Admiral, our weapons are offline." "Engines unresponsive, sir. Even life support is locked in standby." Admiral Serac gritted his teeth, his claws digging into the arm of his command chair. Never in his life had he felt such humiliation. His grand armada, thousands of warships, reduced to silence by a single vessel. The warship Aegis hovered ahead, calm and still, as if watching them struggle like insects caught in a web. On Serac's flagship, the comm systems flickered again. The same human voice returned, cold but steady. "We did not come to destroy you. But you must understand, what humans built, no empire can chain." And then, before their eyes, the Aegis acted. Panels along its hull shifted. revealing long, glowing structures. Not weapons as the Empire knew, but something stranger, older. Energy flowed like rivers of light, forming brilliant arcs that stretched into the void. A beam shot out, not at the Empire's ships, but toward a barren moon orbiting the nearby gas giant. In a single instant, the surface of the moon cracked apart, exploding into shards. Mountains shattered, oceans of dust rose, and the entire body broke into fragments that scattered across space. The fleet gasped in horror. One strike, one moon. Gone. If that power had been directed at them, none would have survived. Panic spread among officers across the comm lines. It could erase our fleets in seconds. We're powerless. This is impossible. But the demonstration was not finished. The Aegis then turned its focus to the Imperial ships themselves. Another wave of light pulsed outward. But this time, instead of destruction, the pulse passed gently across every vessel. Panels opened by themselves. Weapon cores ejected into space, drifting uselessly. Shields collapsed and detached, stripped away like old skin. Entire carriers found their fighter bays forced open, their squadrons disabled before launch. It was as if the human warship reached into their hearts and disarmed them, piece by piece, without harming a single life. On the bridge of Serax, ship, silence reigned. Officers could only watch as their fleet was dismantled like toys in a child's hands. The voice came again, sharper now, carrying the weight of history. Your empire believes fear is power, but fear is fragile. We do not seek your throne. We seek balance. Remember this demonstration, not of death, but of restraint. Serax's throat tightened. Restraint? To destroy a moon with a flick, to strip an entire fleet bare in minutes, and yet leave them alive. This was not mercy. This was a warning. Every soldier, every officer, every commander felt it in their bones. Humanity had not just returned. Humanity had evolved into something unstoppable. The crew whispered among themselves. If this is only a single ship, how many more exist? What if they have fleets hidden in the dark? They could end the Empire tomorrow. Fear spread faster than any weapon ever could. Admiral Serac lowered his head. For the first time, the supreme commander of an Imperial armada had no answer, no strategy, no control. The Aegis stood unchallenged, its presence a shadow stretching across the stars. The demonstration was over, but the real message was only beginning to sink in. The warship Aegis hung silently among the broken remains of the moon it had shattered. Imperial fleets floated powerless, stripped of weapons, shields, and pride. The void itself seemed to listen as the human voice returned, steady and merciless. You have taken much, worlds that were never yours, civilizations crushed under your banners. You believe the galaxy bends only to the Empire's will. Today, you learn otherwise. On Admiral Serac's flagship, officers shifted nervously. Some lowered their heads, unable to meet their commander's eyes. The voice carried not rage, but a cold certainty that pierced deeper than any threat. This galaxy once knew balance, the voice continued. When humanity walked its stars, no empire ruled alone. You erased our memory. You claimed our silence was your victory. But silence is not death. We have returned. The words rolled through every comm channel, reaching not only the fleets, but also the listening posts, the colonies, even the throne world itself. Billions heard it. Fear spread faster than the message could be silenced. Admiral Serac slammed his claws against his chair. Enough of this. You dare lecture the Empire? You are one ship, one voice, the Aegis responded instantly. Its engines glowed, and in a blink it shifted across space, appearing behind Serac's flagship, as though distance meant nothing. Alarms shrieked, officers stumbled, and Serac froze as the massive vessel filled his view like a shadow of doom. The human voice returned, calm but edged with steel. One ship is enough. The entire bridge went quiet. The crew knew it was not boasting, it was truth. Then came the demand. You will end your conquests. Withdraw from the worlds you have enslaved. Restore their freedom. If you refuse, the galaxy will see what true war is. Gasps echoed across the fleet. Restore freedom? Such a concept was alien to the Empire. For generations, power meant survival, and mercy was weakness. Yet here was a voice that treated the Empire as a schoolchild, scolding and commanding. On distant colonies, resistance groups who overheard the transmission cheered in secret. Whispers spread. The humans have returned. The humans are with us. But in the Throne World's council chambers, panic turned to anger. Imperial senators shouted, demanding retaliation. We cannot bow to a ghost. Crush them now before the people lose faith in our rule. Admiral Serac tried to regain control, his voice trembling but loud. Humans, you overestimate yourselves. The Empire does not kneel. We will fight to the last fleet. The Aegis remained silent for a long moment. Then, the reply came, chilling and final. Then your last fleet will come sooner than you think. With that, the warship powered its weapons again. But this time the beams of light didn't strike a moon or a star. Instead, they painted the Imperial ships in shimmering glow, not attacking, but marking them, one by one, as if choosing which to erase first. Officers felt their hearts stop. For the first time, they knew what it meant to be prey. Serac's voice cracked as he whispered, What do they want from us truly? The answer had already been spoken. The demand was simple, yet impossible for the Empire's pride to accept. End your reign, or be ended. The galaxy trembled. The Empire's iron grip was slipping, and humanity's shadow had returned to claim its place among the stars. The glow of the Aegis spread across the immobilized fleets, each Imperial warship, painted in pale light, as if the human vessel had already written their names in death. Crews sat frozen, hands hovering over useless controls, breaths shallow in the silence. Admiral Serac felt the weight of centuries pressing down on his shoulders. His empire had never known fear like this, not from rebels, not from rival species. But now, one ship had undone them all. On the throne world, the Emperor himself watched the transmission in silence. His council screamed for war, for pride, for vengeance. But the Emperor's eyes betrayed doubt. Even he knew power when he saw it. And this power was absolute. Serac's comm channels filled with panicked voices from across the fleet. Admiral, if we resist, we are finished. They dismantled us without firing. Imagine what happens when they stop holding back. What if more of them come? This could be the first of many. But Serac's pride fought his reason. He rose from his chair, his voice trembling yet sharp. The Empire bends to no one. Signal the reserve fleets. We strike now. The order spread. Across the sector, hidden Imperial reinforcements surged forward. Dreadnoughts, elite strike cruisers, the finest weapons the Empire could summon. 1,000 more ships blinked into the battlefield, engines burning bright. The void filled, with their numbers overwhelming, glorious. For a heartbeat, hope returned to the Empire. They believed sheer force would drown the human ghost. The Aegis did not move. Then, without warning, the stars themselves seemed to shift. The ship's hull pulsed, and in the blink of an eye it multiplied. Shadows of warships appeared across the system, not dozens, not hundreds, but countless echoes of the Aegis. Each one shimmered with the same terrifying presence, surrounding the Imperial fleets on every side. Officers gasped. There are more of them. No, whispered Serac, his throat dry. They are showing us what they want us to believe, or what truly waits in the dark. And then, the demonstration ended with brutal clarity. The Aegis fired once, more, not at moons, not at ships, but into the void itself. The beam tore space open, revealing a swirling rift of unknown energy, a gateway to somewhere beyond. And in its depths, other warships stirred. Silent giants waiting, patient as the stars. The voice of the Aegis returned, calm as ever, but now thunderous in its final decree. Humanity does not ask. Humanity decides. End your empire of chains. Free the worlds you enslaved. Or face what sleeps beyond this gate. The rift closed, leaving only silence and the burning image in every officer's mind. A fleet beyond imagination. Admiral Serac collapsed into his chair, his pride shattered. Around him, commanders who once swore eternal loyalty to the Empire sat pale and silent, their eyes wide with a terror no order could erase. The Emperor, light years away, finally rose from his throne. His voice was low, unheard by anyone beyond his chamber. So the old legends were warnings. Across the galaxy, whispers began. Colonies stirred with hope. Resistance movements raised their banners in secret. A single human ship had broken the illusion of the Empire's invincibility. The galaxy's future had changed forever. The turning point had come, and humanity, long silent, long forgotten, now stood as the force the stars themselves could not ignore.